His girlfriend leaves him for being a loser otaku, so he falls in love with her sister. Jun is a boy who just moved into his new house, and that very day he meets who will become his best friends. Two sisters, Rumi and Naori. From the moment she saw him, Rumi was charmed by Jun, an otaku who showered every day, kind, handsome, always helping others with their problems, everything a girl could want. But there was one small problem: her sister. The one who spent the most time with Jun was Naori. She liked the same things he did, and Rumi would watch how nervous he got when he was around her. Basically, her sister was winning over the love of her life. But Rumi was too much of a coward to ever tell Jun how she felt. When adolescence hit, Rumi was still in love with Jun. But since being a nerd wasn't considered cool anymore among her friends, she stopped talking to him so they wouldn't think they were close. The one who stayed real and never pulled away was Naori. She kept talking to him and didn't care what others thought. Since Jun still liked Naori, one night she asked him to go buy some things with her. On the way back, they passed by the park where they used to play as kids. Jun started talking about manga, and then, out of nowhere, Naori gathered the courage and asked him if he wanted to go out with her. Naturally, Jun asked her why she was saying that. She didn't confess that she had always been in love with him. Instead, she said she just wanted to experience what it's like to have a boyfriend before high school ended. They had known each other since they were little, and she trusted him, so why not give it a try? Jun thought about it for a moment. He never imagined that a girl as popular as her could like him. But in the end, he said yes. Their dating phase began, and they were the perfect couple, the smartest guy and the most popular girl. Every moment they spent together was perfect, and Rumi was the happiest girl in the world, because she was finally with the boy she'd fallen in love with. But remember how Rumi was embarrassed for people to see her with Jun? Well, that didn't change. She never told anyone she was dating him. In fact, they would meet in secret places so nobody would know she was dating the class otaku. The only one who always knew was Naori. That night, do you know what Rumi did to her perfect relationship? She broke up with Jun. In the same park, on the same bench where she had asked him to be her boyfriend, she ended things. Jun asked her what he had done wrong, if he wasn't good enough for her. But Rumi gave him the classic "it's not you, it's me." She thanked him for everything and said she had a great time. Jun got dumped, just like me.
Emotional, damn it!
On the other hand, ever since she was little, Naori had felt lonely because the other kids never liked the same things she did. She liked reading, investing in Bitcoin, the stock market, things like that. Everyone always said she was the weird one at school. But everything changed when someone like her showed up, Jun. She knew just by looking at him that he would be the love of her life, but she never had the courage to say it. Besides, she knew her sister was also in love with him, so she let Rumi have him. And when the day came that Rumi told her they were dating, Naori had to pretend to be happy. And in a way, she was, because her sister was happy. But deep down, her heart was shattered into 1,000 pieces. Every time they went on a date, she would help Rumi get ready. But she always wondered, what do those two talk about when they're alone? When the day came that Rumi broke up with Jun, she didn't know how to feel. On one hand, she felt bad for both her sister and Jun. But on the other, there was a sense of relief in her heart. Still, the one who was truly suffering the most was Jun. He had no idea what he'd done wrong, and it felt like they had just played with him. Time went by, but since the girl's family and Jun's family were super close, Rumi kept running into her ex. She remembered that, on the day she broke up with Jun, the last thing she said to him was to date her sister. This girl's insane. And there's no escaping Jun, because that very day, her mom reminds her they'll be having a barbecue with Jun's family soon and sends her to ask about the food. When she gets to Jun's house, his parents tell her he's still asleep and assign her the task of waking him up. Because, as responsible parents, they're leaving him alone all day. Rumi listens and goes to wake him, but before doing so, she just stands there watching him, thinking about how she let her boyfriend go. When Jun wakes up, he asks what she's doing there, and she tells him his parents asked her to wake him. While Jun goes to wash his face, Rumi stays behind and smells his pillow. When he comes back, she acts like nothing happened and asks about the weekend barbecue. But Jun doesn't look too thrilled that she's hanging around his house for so long. He tells her he doesn't care about the food, he'll eat whatever. Still, Rumi doesn't want to leave without bringing up Naori. She tells Jun he should go out with her sister soon. But Jun says she's asking something ridiculous. She broke up with him just a few months ago, and now she wants him to date her sister. He's not even sure if Naori likes him. That's when Rumi tells him that Naori has always been in love with him, and that the two of them should be together. Although she still likes Jun herself, she makes that very clear. She's trying to be a good older sister and let her little sister be happy. So, who would you choose? And speaking of the other girl, When Naori wakes up, she sees a message from Jun asking if she wants to hang out that day. That surprises her, since that's not something Jun usually does. She doesn't know if he's still sad about the breakup with Rumi or if he's using her as a rebound. But well, crumbs of love from Jun are enough for her, so she agrees. She gets ready and meets up with Jun. They plan to go to the movies, which is strange to Naori since Jun usually avoids crowded places, but she goes with him anyway. After the movie, they take a walk, and along the way Naori teases him, saying that when they were kids, his whole personality came from books and he'd copy what the main characters said. Which is true, so Jun gets flustered, especially when she asks if he's okay. They talk about books and the things they love, but then Jun remembers what Rumi asked of him. Without thinking much, he asks Naori if she wants to go out with him, but right away, she says no.
Emotional, damn it!
Naori tells him her mom warned her about guys like him. Then she laughs and says she's joking. She'd been waiting years for him to confess just so she could reject him and finally be free. But that actually makes Jun feel better, because right now he doesn't really like Naori that way. They decide to stay friends. I said for now. Obviously the girl did want to say yes to Jun. When Naori gets home, she tells Rumi they need to talk. Once Rumi gets to her room, Naori tells her that Jun asked her out, but that she rejected him. Well, truth is, Naori only said that to see her sister's reaction. She didn't reject Jun. In fact, she said yes, and now they're spending more and more time together. Though Jun is still getting used to Naori's mood swings, she keeps showing how much she likes him. Meanwhile, Rumi's friend Asano tells her that she understands why she broke up with Jun, to make her sister happy. But what if Jun actually ends up falling in love with Naori for real? Asano tells her she should be a little selfish sometimes too. She deserves to be happy. She needs to stop feeling like she's responsible for everyone else around her. Seriously, guys, take notes. Back at school, Jun and Naori are talking about otaku stuff with their friend Toyo, but I don't remember what they said, so let's skip that part. Naori loses a bet with a friend and has to go to karaoke, while Jun heads over to Toyo's house to hang out. But when he gets there, he runs into something unexpected. See, Toyo is the player at school. He's dated a bunch of girls, and they even call him the master. So, Jun randomly asks him if he likes Naori, and Toyo says yes or, well, used to. A few years ago, when he first met her, he asked her out and she said no. Now he just sees her as a friend. And ever since he found out that Naori likes Jun, he stepped aside because he respects their friendship. Now that's a real man. Turns out the only person who didn't realize Naori was in love with Jun was Jun himself. Toyo tells him that everyone knew. It was super obvious. To a lot of people, Jun's living the dream. He's got two twin sisters in love with him. But Jun doesn't see it that way. He's still in love with Rumi, even though now he's dating Naori. Speaking of the girls, while Rumi's playing basketball, another girl makes her trip, and she ends up hurting her wrist. Later that night, when Jun arrives at the girl's house, Rumi's mom tells him what happened. And as soon as he hears Rumi's hurt, he doesn't hesitate to go talk to her. She lets him in, and when Jun gives her a few words of encouragement, she can't hold back the tears. She tells him she won't be able to play for the rest of the season, and she'd worked so hard to be part of the tournament. Jun tells her it's okay to cry when she's alone, because she doesn't want anyone to worry about her. In that moment, Rumi looks at Jun and sees the boy she once fell in love with. She's just about to kiss him when, good or bad luck, you decide. Naori walks in and asks if her sister's feeling okay. Later, Naori asks Jun what he said to cheer Rumi up, and he replies that he just comforted her. But she knows he's not telling the full truth. Even more so during dinner, Naori notices that Rumi avoids eye contact with both Jun and her. Things feel off. The next day, even though Naori tries to chat with Jun, he seems totally distracted, like he's thinking about Mr. Beast edits or something. Later, when Naori goes looking for him in his classroom, he's not there, but she runs into Toyo. Toyo tells her Jun will be back soon and congratulates her on dating him. But he says there's something she needs to know. Sure, she and Jun have known each other since they were kids, but it also feels like she doesn't really know him. Toyo asks her who she thinks Jun's first love was. Naori replies, Rumi. Ever since they were little, Jun always got along better with her sister than with her. But Toyo corrects her. Jun's first love was her. Meanwhile, the boy is talking with his ex. Rumi tells him that this will be the last time they see each other alone because if they continue, sooner or later something will happen between them. But Jun tells her he can't forget her. He's in love with her. Rumi tells him not to be silly because he has always been in love with Naori. Jun asks her why she asked him out then, if she always intended to break up with him. Rumi says she only wants him to be happy, and Jun clarifies that yes, Naori was his first love, but only that. Now he only has eyes for her, she's the only one he wants. Rumi doesn't know what to do and confronts him about why he's telling her he loves her now when during the entire time they were dating, he never once told her he loved her. Damn, this seems like a Turkish soap opera. On the other hand, it seems like the twin connection works because Naori feels something isn't right and begins to cry. Finally, Rumi asks Jun how he got over Naori, and he tells her that since childhood he liked her and tried to be like her, reading the same things, watching the same things, being like rivals, but he realized he was the only one making an effort, so he thought he had no chance with Naori. And when he started dating Rumi, his love faded, and he only had Rumi on his mind. The girl tells him that now that he's dating Naori, maybe he'll forget about her, that would be best. Jun tells her she's the bravest person he's ever known, but she says she's only pretending to be strong. Maybe if they had talked from the beginning, things would have been different, but since what ifs don't exist, the girl leaves because despite her hand injury, she still goes to train. Now when Jun arrives at his classroom and sees Naori crying, he asks what happened, and she responds that she just got an eyelash in her eye. And she's not the only one lying because Jun tells her that a teacher called him in, and that's why he was late. As they leave, Naori suggests a date over the weekend to Jun, and the boy accepts. The one who doesn't see their quick progression favorably is Naori's friend, Kame. The girl tells Naori to think carefully about her date because she's wrapping Jun in her clutches. What is Kame doing? The girl tells the blonde that she should dress well because she's gained weight in those months. At night, Naori is watching a romantic movie, which is strange for Rumi, but when her sister tells her she has a date with Jun, she understands why she's watching the movie. Rumi tells Naori not to be too hard on Jun, but the blonde tells her that if she's so worried, she can join them. She says they're going to the aquarium that Jun likes, but Rumi says she can't go. Naori notifies Jun where they'll be going, and like a toxic girlfriend, she tells him to go to sleep. The next day, the two see each other, and Jun can't deny that the girl looks beautiful, and he tells her so, but Naori makes him say it again. For Naori, it was a good idea to take the boy she likes to the aquarium because that's what Jun likes, but she forgot that's where Jun and Rumi used to spend time. And of course, the boy gets lost in thought so much that he's not even present with Naori. The girl tells him they should do things together. Meanwhile, Rumi just watches as her team is losing, and she can't do anything from the bench. The couple has a good time, and after a while, they go rest, although the wind plays a bad trick on the girl. Well, the two talk about things that if I summarize, you'll get bored. You know, a Ferris wheel can't be missing in anime, except Jun remembers that he went to that same Ferris wheel with Rumi. When they are up in the air, Naori finally has the courage to tell Jun what she has felt since childhood. She has always been in love with him. She noticed that he always cared about the things she liked. Somehow they competed to be the best. But she simply didn't have the courage to tell him things to his face. She used to make bets with herself to confess her love. Then Jun feels he needs to tell the girl something, so he invites her to his house to watch a movie. And she loves the idea. But things don't go as he expects, and although they progress a bit as a couple, he tells her that despite dating, they should take things slowly. But Naori, with an angry face, tells him that to her, it seems like they're not dating at all. Naori tells him that she never said yes, never accepted their dating status. In fact, she knows everything. She knows he's still in love with Rumi, that her sister broke up with him so that they could be together, that she was his first love. She's known everything from the beginning. The best thing is for everyone to forget everything, so he can decide who to be with. He can start over with her or go back to Rumi. Jun tells her that neither option appeals to him. In fact, that afternoon he was planning to break up with her, but he wouldn't go back to Rumi either. He wanted to take time to think. It doesn't seem right to date her if he's not sure of his feelings. She is a very important person to him, she's very pretty, and she's still his best friend, and that's enough for Naori. She tells him everything is fine, but she's not stupid. The girl thinks that now she can start from scratch with Jun, without the burden of being his girlfriend by obligation. Now he can choose her or her sister, but unlike before, now she knows how to play her cards. And now that she's fixed things with the Otaku, she has to go talk to her sister. The two talk in the park, and Naori tells her sister that she's not dating Jun. She knew how her sister felt and that she broke up with Jun for her sake, but she tells Rumi that she shouldn't have done it. She should mind her own business. She thought she had hurt her or that by breaking up with Jun she would redeem herself. She thought Rumi would run back into Jun's arms as if nothing had happened. Rumi tells her that she felt she was forcing Jun to be with her. She felt that the boy was trying too hard to please her because they have nothing in common. With Naori, it was the opposite. They're both alike and they were always talking. But now she realizes it was a mistake not to have thought about herself, because her sister doesn't appreciate what she does for her, so it's over. But after saying that, the girl realizes she's being too harsh and apologizes to her sister. But Naori tells her that she's always like this, always focusing on the negative things. The problem is that they see each other as sisters, not as two individuals. If they weren't sisters, they probably wouldn't get along, because one is an antisocial weirdo, and the other is the classic popular girl. But now they need to do things differently. Rumi tells her that she's over Jun. But when Naori tells her that they kissed that afternoon, Rumi can't help but feel jealous. And Naori tells her it's clear she hasn't gotten over Jun. In fact, she heard her crying one night. So now the sisters have declared war in love. Neither will hold back, and they'll fight for Jun's love. What about the boy? Well, when Jun is with Toyo, he tells him about what's happening with the sisters, and Toyo tells him not to be a fool. He has to choose. But Jun says he doesn't know what to do. Maybe he'll stop talking to both of them. But Toyo tells him not to do that. The worst thing in life is to be indecisive. He needs to take action. The next morning, Naori tells him that if she gets better grades on the exams, she'll confess to him. But Jun tells both sisters to stop talking about the topic for a while. Although in the afternoon, the boy meets with Rumi, and they talk about how Naori had them dancing in the palm of her hand. But he also understands that she's right, so they won't stop talking after all. Naori doesn't waste time because the girl truly knows what she's doing and with what intentions. She teases Jun because she sees him sad and tells him that if it's because of the exams, he shouldn't worry because if necessary, she'll support him financially. But Jun shuts her up because he beat her again in grades. The girl doesn't take this well because she thinks he got better grades so she wouldn't ask him out. But Jun clarifies that's not true because she said she would take it seriously, so he did too. Naori knows he's right, and besides, Jun tells her that if she had asked him out, he would have said no. And he's not going to date Rumi either. Speaking of the girl, Rumi passes by and Naori sees her, so she asks Jun to hug her. He doesn't understand why he should do it, but he ends up doing it, and Rumi sees them, which is exactly what Naori wanted. Because of this, Rumi asks Jun what happened, and he clarifies that it was Naori's doing. Rumi tells him that he's always let Naori manipulate him, but to fix things, she also asks for a hug. Poor Jun has no choice, and Rumi tells him that she'll return to the basketball team as a starter. But she also asks him about a girl named Amma, and the girl doesn't take long to appear. For some reason, she's looking for Jun. When she finds him, the girl takes his hand and takes him away to talk privately. It turns out that Amma asked Rumi for help with studying, and she told her that maybe Jun could help her. But Jun tells her he can't and that she should find someone else. The girl doesn't care about this and tells him she'll see him after classes end. Jun tells his friends about it but says he doesn't want any more problems. He's already afraid of women. But Toyo reminds him that he only lives once and has to take advantage of all the opportunities that come his way. Meanwhile, the girls talk about Naori's upcoming birthday, and Rumi has to train for the basketball game. But she also wonders if it was a good idea to recommend Jun to help Amma because what if Jun ends up liking the girl? After all, Amma is a pretty girl, a model, with money, but she doesn't think that will happen. Rumi tells Jun that she thought about telling Naori to help Amma, but the two are like oil and water. Jun tells her that he will help the girl only because she asks him to, but Naori can't find out, and for that, he talks to Kame. The girl tells him that she'll take care of it and that being with girls like Amma is good for Jun. She's the prettiest girl in the school. But Jun tells her that might convince a teacher, but he's not really interested in that. Besides, she only says that because she's a gossip. Kame tells him he's right and also reminds him that Naori's birthday is coming up soon. She asks him what he's going to give her, but Jun doesn't know what she wants. That's where Kame comes in. She tells him she'll take care of finding out, but he has to commit to giving it to Naori, and Jun agrees. Meanwhile, Rumi is with the other girls, and they tell her they're glad to see her doing better after breaking up with Jun. She doesn't know how they know about that, but the girls tell her that everyone knows. It was so obvious that the only one who thought nobody noticed was her. In fact, they saw them kissing several times. I know this is boring, but the good stuff is coming. The boys get together to study, but Amma suggests they go to dinner instead. Jun doesn't want to, but Rumi convinces him by saying that Amma spends a lot of time alone because her mom and dad work abroad, so she wouldn't mind the company. Meanwhile, Kame is distracting Naori, but Toyo is the one who messes up because when Naori sees him alone, she tells him she thought he was with Jun. But Toyo tells her that because of what happened that afternoon, Jun left early. Since Naori doesn't know anything about it, she asks what happened that afternoon. When they arrive at Amma's house, the boys feel poor because the girl's house is like something out of a movie. She also introduces them to her cat, but before dinner, Amma randomly asks Rumi if she likes Jun, and she lies saying no. Then the girl becomes more flirty with Jun and asks him how he likes to be called. But Jun gets nervous and the girl notices. Elsewhere, under pressure, Toyo tells Naori that Amma asked Jun for help studying. And when he mentions the girl, it's clear that Naori really dislikes her. She thinks the blonde is good for nothing and only has a pretty face. When leaving Amma's house, Jun and Rumi walk home together, but at that moment Naori appears. She asks them what the two of them are doing together at that hour, and before Naori can say anything, Rumi tells her they were at Amma's house because Jun was helping her study. This doesn't please Naori at all, but she gets over it when Rumi shows her the photos she took of Amma's cat. But only for a while, because when they get home, Naori asks Jun if he's going to help the blonde study, and Jun says yes but doesn't have time to explain things at that moment. That night Naori spends thinking about why Jun wants to help someone like Amma, so she has to do something about it. Naori doesn't take long to go to Jun's house to ask him more things, but she finds him watching Speed. The girl tells him to tell her the truth about why he agreed to help Amma. Jun tells her it was really just inertia since he was already there, so he said yes. What worries her is whether Jun feels something for Amma, but Jun tells her it's not like that. But to be more sure, Naori tells him she'll accompany him to Amma's house. Jun tells Rumi what happened. Also, that day Amma sent Jun a message telling him to come to her house to study. Rumi tells him she won't go that afternoon because she has to train, so he'll have to go alone. Naori can't go either, so Jun has to go alone to the girl's house, though he waits for her a bit because the girl is always late. She tells him she'll make him something to eat to make up for it. The one who's not doing well is Rumi because the girl is thinking about what Jun and Amma might be doing. What worries her most is why the girl asked if she liked Jun, but she doesn't think Amma likes Jun. While she's thinking, she sees that Naori is following her, and when the girl tries to leave, she grabs her hand and asks what she's doing. She tells her she thought Jun was with her, but now she knows he's with Amma. She wanted to go with him, but she can't help disliking the girl. Rumi realizes that her sister feels excluded by everyone and maybe it was a bad idea to hide the thing about Amma. While Jun is studying with Amma, the girl asks him if he likes anyone at school, and teases him by asking which of the twins he's going to choose. Jun asks her if there's anyone she likes, and Amma tells him there's someone from school she wants to get to know better. Days pass and the two get to know each other better, they're more comfortable now. One day the girl tells Jun to get some food, but he realizes it's a trap because the girl wants to leave, but he won't let her. When he gets in the car, Jun realizes the girl is an otaku, gamer, geek. She asks him not to tell anyone, and tells him that room is her cave. It belonged to her and her brother, but when her parents divorced, she kept the room. Her parents still work together in the fashion industry, and since they're at their peak moment, they're not home much. Jun realizes he has more in common with the girl than he thought. The one who's not having a good time is Naori, but Kame comes to cheer her up. But maybe it's a bad idea to go out because Jun is with Amma, except they're looking for a gift for Naori? Well, for Rumi. Amma asks him why he's not looking for a gift for Naori. Jun tells her it's harder to find a gift for Rumi than for Naori. The bad thing is that Naori is in the same place and ends up seeing them. The girl doesn't take long to send photos to Rumi of Jun and Amma together. The two don't take long to meet up to talk. Naori asks her if she thinks Jun feels something for Amma. Rumi is no longer so sure he doesn't, so Naori will sacrifice herself and go with Jun next time to Amma's house. When the two arrive, Amma is super nice to Naori, and the girl asks if she's always like that, and Jun confirms it. She also loves Amma's cat. The girl is so tired she ends up falling asleep, but Jun wakes her up because Amma's mom has arrived. The lady is a sweetheart and invites both of them to dinner. When leaving, Jun asks Naori if she thinks she can get along with Amma. She tells him maybe in the future. The good thing is that Jun holds the umbrella for Naori and the girl takes his hand. Days later, Rumi is nervous about the next basketball game, but her friend calms her down and she also tells her about her love problems. But since she's not the protagonist, we don't care. What we do care about is that Jun sends Rumi a message to meet up, and since the girl has no self-respect, she goes running. Jun nervously gives her the gift he bought. It's a water bottle, and the girl says she'll use it in the next game. She also asks if she can give him a hug and he says yes. Rumi hugs him and tells herself that she loves him so much and won't let anyone else steal those moments with the boy she likes. Jun tells her he thought about giving both of them their gifts on the same day, but wanted to give her hers before the game. Jun tells her it's the only thing he can do for her. He never told her, but he loves watching her play basketball. The girl tells him that encourages her a lot, but there's something else he can do for her. Rumi asks him to give her a kiss, and of course Jun plays hard to get, but in the end he ends up giving in. When she gets home, Naori realizes something happened between her sister and Jun, and she'd better go to her room. But Rumi tells her the truth, well, half of it, because she tells her that Jun wished her luck in the game, and that's all. Naori tells her it's okay and she doesn't have to tell her everything. Besides, her birthday is coming and they can't be angry on that day. After saying goodbye to Amma, Jun goes home with Naori. The two talk about Rumi's game, but Jun tells her if she has time they can go for coffee. But Naori tells him they should go to her house instead. In the girl's room, Jun gives her his gift, a stuffed animal she had been looking for a while. Not only that, but Jun also gives her a case for the girl's glasses. When she sees the case, she realizes it's the same one Jun has and asks if only the two of them have that case. And Jun tells her that among the people he knows, yes. Naori likes the gift, but asks if he had given Rumi her gift the day before. Jun says yes, but it was because he wanted to give it to her before her game. She tells him they shouldn't do things behind each other's backs anymore. She wants to be taken into account. She's not just a girl who's there as filler. She wants to go out with him, spend time with him, talk about the things they talked about as kids. She hasn't done anything wrong to be pushed aside. And Jun, remembering what Toyo told him, tells the girl that's what they'll do. They'll go out together more and spend more time together. The twins' birthday arrives and they have a good time. What both enjoy most is spending time with Jun. Then Kame also celebrates Naori's birthday, but he has one more surprise. He opens the door and it's Amma. The girl doesn't understand why she's there, and Amma tells her it's her birthday and she has something to give her. The girl gives her cat ears and confesses that she's always wanted to be her friend. She always thought she was an incredible person, and that's why she asked Kame for help. It turns out this girl is the mastermind of this anime, because she told Rumi about helping Amma with her studies, but she knew Rumi would tell Jun, so that would attract Naori's attention and she'd finally meet Amma. This girl is the real protagonist. Now in one of her games, Rumi manages to score at the last moment, and everyone congratulates her, and Naori sees how that excites Jun. At night the two talk because Rumi has the final and is super nervous, but Naori tells her she's the best and will do well. When she leaves, she tells herself that from that day on she'll be more serious with Jun because if she's not careful, she'll lose him. The day of the basketball final arrives. Rumi is giving her all, but since the girls from the other team know she's the best, they're blocking her, and Rumi's team ends up losing. The girl gets very sad about it, and that sadness doesn't last just one day but several. Naori and Jun know this and try to cheer her up, but the girl wants to be alone. Mizu also knows the girl is not doing well. The boy also plays and tells her she did everything she could and shouldn't blame herself. He's seen how hard she's worked in every game and can't help but worry about her. And not only that, the boy confesses to her at that moment. But we don't see what Rumi tells him. We see Naori telling Jun and Toyo that she wants to start a club. Both tell her she's only saying it out of excitement, but she won't be responsible about it. Naori tells them she's researched it and they only need 5 members and a supervisor. For Toyo, the other member has to be a girl because he couldn't be alone with just them. And apparently she already has more members because Kome also joins, and Amma. Naori tells them the club will be for talking about things they like, anime, games, books, but she has to give it a category, and Jun suggests it should be a review club. On the other hand, Rumi tells Asano that Mizu confessed to her. Asano tells her she had a feeling. She knew the boy felt something for her. Asano advises her to reject him because she can't play with other people's feelings. Besides, it's not like the boy asked her to marry him. He just said he liked her. In fact, he didn't even ask her out. On the train, Jun tells Naori that if they approve the club, more people might join. But that idea doesn't appeal much to the girl because she just wants to be with her friends. Though Jun tells her she should have thought about that before making the club. Rumi also has her problems because Mizu wants to talk to her. The boy asks if she thought about what happened last time and asks if she likes Jun. She tells him yes, she's in love with him, but so is her sister. Mizu tells her that's obvious because everyone sees how well the two of them get along. They look like boyfriend and girlfriend, but he understands how hard it must be for her to live through that. Before leaving, the boy proposes a date. When Rumi tells Asano everything, she tells her she has to reject the boy because she likes Jun. She also feels that Mizu is playing dirty by telling her things about Naori and Jun. At night she calls Jun and asks if he's friends with Mizu, and he says something like that. She also asks if they've talked these days and he tells her yes, everything normal. At school, Kome asks Naori if she told her sister about the club, but she tells her she doesn't have to tell her everything. She doesn't tell her about her life, so neither should she. Besides, she doesn't feel like she'll join. Speaking of her, Rumi is with Asano talking about Mizu again, and Asano tells her she has to be like the Rumi who plays basketball. When she shoots the ball, she doesn't think twice. She has that determination. She has to do the same thing with Mizu. Rumi takes her advice and talks to the boy, telling him she can't go out with him. She only sees him as a friend. Mizu still doesn't give up and tells her they can go out as friends. He regrets telling her he liked her because now things won't be the same between them. But Rumi tells him everything is fine between the two of them. Mizu, a fallen soldier. The club thing is going well. But the boys have a small problem. They were given authorization, but another club wants to use the room they want to use. What they have to do is talk to the leader of the other club to convince him to let them use the room they want. When night comes, things between the twins seem a bit weird, and Rumi tells Jun about Mizu. She asks if he minds that she goes out with him once. Jun tells her she's free and can do whatever she wants. But when she tells him that Mizu said he liked her, things change because Jun goes quiet. But when Rumi tells him she rejected him, his soul returns to his body. She tells him Mizu invited her to go out as friends. Jun tells her again that she can do whatever she wants. After all, he's not her boyfriend. But she can't take it anymore. Rumi tells him he knows perfectly well why she's telling him this, but he plays dumb, or rather, acts like a coward. She wants him to tell her she can't go out with him because he likes her, but he's never honest with her, and it's something that's starting to tire her. Naori hears her crying and comes to comfort her sister, and when she finds out why Rumi is crying, she asks what she'll do. Maybe she can give Mizu a chance. The next morning, Rumi starts ignoring Jun and he knows why. Now it's time to talk to the leader of the other club, a boy named Maple. Jun is in charge of talking. He speaks with the boy, but he tells them he can't give them the place because they have nowhere to go. Besides, they ask for the room first. Jun reminds him they're in the same problem as them. Both are missing a member. Maple tells them they have more to lose because they're second years, so there's nothing to be done. Jun tells them to bet. Whoever wins keeps the room. Plus, he'll join their club. The boy says he accepts, but the game has to be chess, and he'll choose his opponent. He chooses Naori. He asks if a week to prepare seems fine, but Naori says 2 days is enough. What the boy doesn't know is that Naori's dad used to force her to play with him, and the girl is quite good. But to be sure of victory, Jun will help her. Rumi thinks about what her sister told her the other day. Naori told her to accept the boy's date, but just to see what Jun does. If he does something to prevent her from going out with Mizu, she practically wins. But Rumi sees this as very cruel because she doesn't want to use Mizu. So Naori tells her to reject him. If she doesn't want to be cruel to the boy and waste his time, she should reject him 100%. This leaves Rumi thinking, and the other girls on the team notice. She doesn't want to tell them anything, but since they saw her talking to Mizu last time, they sense what's going through her head. They tell her Mizu is a good boy. He has several girls after him. Interestingly, one girl tells Rumi she was dating Mizu, and has some things to tell her. She doesn't really have anything bad to say about the boy. She tells them they went out for a week, but Mizu left her because he likes someone else, namely Rumi. The girl still likes him, so the girls come up with a plan for Rumi to go out with Mizu, but tell him she still likes him, and maybe somehow they can get those two together. At home, Jun is with Naori practicing chess, but it's already late and it's time for the girl to go home. But when Jun tells her this, she grabs him and says she doesn't want to leave. In fact, she'll tell her mom to sleep there that day. But Jun says no, and she knows well why. She understands, leaves, and apologizes for being so selfish. The next day, Jun and Rumi meet up. He tells her Naori will play chess. He also tells her about the club, and apparently Rumi doesn't like the idea much because she knows Naori's intentions. Jun takes the opportunity to apologize for the Mizu thing and how cowardly he was. But Rumi tells him it's okay. She also didn't think he was her friend. She asks him again if it's okay for her to go out with the boy, but she tells him it's for the good of the team. There's something she has to do. Jun tells her it's fine. He can't forbid her. This is how Rumi talks to Mizu and tells him she accepts the date. At night, the three practice for Naori's duel and have a moment of calm before the storm. The next day, everything is ready. Jun goes with Naori and Rumi goes on her date. Jun just watches her leave, and things get worse because when he's at school, Mizu sends Jun a message where he tells him he's serious about Rumi. Naori manages to see the message and tells Jun that she knows it's bothering him and that he's free to go with Rumi. He just has to be back in time for when the game starts. Jun tells her he will, and that he'll make it up to her. She says he can make it up to her right now. Before Jun leaves, the girl asks him for a kiss, and he gives her one on the cheek, but she tells him to do it properly. She kisses him back and is left thinking about what a good person he is. On the not a date, Mizu takes Rumi to the park and they talk about things that aren't very interesting. Then Mizu asks her what it is she likes about Jun, and she says she's always been close to him, so she likes everything about him. At that moment, we see the face of someone who just fell into the friend zone. Mizu thinks that if Jun weren't around, he might have had a chance. Then Rumi asks why he doesn't get back with his ex, but Mizu replies that it's the same for him as it is for her. He really likes his ex as a person, but he doesn't feel anything romantic for her. Meanwhile, the game has started, and Maple greatly underestimates Naori. Since the guy really likes Naori because she's an otaku, Maple just tells them they can keep the room. And just like that, problem solved. The problem that hasn't been solved is Rumi's. Jun runs and finally gets to where the others are. When he arrives, she asks him what he's doing there, and he says he has something to tell her. Mizu also wants to know what it is. And well, the guy isn't bad after all. He sent that message to Jun to encourage him to come and finally tell Rumi how he feels. Sorry for judging you, Mizu. Jun tells Rumi that he was surprised when she asked him out, but when they were together, those were the best moments of his life. That's why, when they broke up, he didn't know what to do. Part of him still held on to the hope that they might get back together. But now that he's thought things through, he knows that can't happen. Or at least not right now. It's not that he prefers Naori, it's just that he cares about both of them equally. To him, they're the two most important people in his life. But he knows he has to make a decision, and he will, he just asks for a bit more time. And as we know, in this anime, self-love doesn't exist, so the girl tells him that what he's saying hurts. But she agrees to give him more time. Mizu says that if it were up to him, he'd choose Rumi, but Jun knows what he's doing. Mizu leaves them alone and tells Jun to walk her home. Farewell, MVP. When Rumi gets home, her mom tells her that Naori went to sleep over at Amma's house. That surprises Rumi, and for a moment she thinks maybe Naori gave up. But she knows that's not like her, she's definitely planning something. And she's right, because Naori tells her friends that tonight she's going to make her move. Back at Rumi's house, Jun comes over for dinner and tells Rumi that he wanted to see Naori, because he wants to tell her the same thing he told Rumi in the park. After dinner, the boy heads home, and waiting for him there is Naori. She tells him to be quiet, that they have a lot to talk about that night. Jun says she can't just do that his parents don't even know she's there. But she tells him he owes her something in return for getting the club room, and besides, she wants to spend time with him like in the past. Jun says he understands, but right now he still can't decide between her and Rumi. Naori replies that it's fine, she just wants him to grant her this one wish tonight, otherwise she'll go sleep in the park. With no other option, Jun lets her in. The two of them watch a movie together, and later, while Jun is taking a bath, the girl sets her plan in motion. But this is a family-friendly channel, and honestly, nothing really happens because Jun runs away. That night, the girl tells him to please date her, and that no one has to know. She says she can live with that, she just wants to be with him. Jun tells her that can't happen, because it would hurt Rumi, and if Rumi had asked him the same thing, he would have said no too. I don't know what to think of you, Jun. What would you do in his place? That's what his friends are wondering too, because they all know he's going in circles with this. But oh well, at least it's the last episode. A few days later, their families take them on a trip, and even the parents are saying it'd be nice if Rumi and Naori both married Jun. Later that evening, Jun tells the girls to meet him at the local lookout point. They go with him, and from there, they take in the full view of My Crush Doesn't Like Me back. Jun thought taking them there was a good idea. It would have been if the girls weren't completely nuts. Suddenly, the two of them start fighting, not over Jun anymore, but over all the things they've done to each other. They yell, they say hurtful things. If you have siblings, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The two of them let it all out, and the fight gets so intense that they both land a good slap. First Rumi, then Naori. And just when they're about to go Super Saiyan, Jun steps in, well, more like his face does, because he takes a hit from both of them. He tells them he can't choose, not yet, but he will. Sometimes he's even wondered if maybe the three of them could just stay like this forever. But he knows that's not possible. He also knows that if he chooses one, the other will be hurt. And if he chooses neither, they'll both be hurt. That's why all he's asking for is more time. He promises he'll give them an answer. And with that, the two wild beasts finally calm down. Days go by, and the club is officially open. Everyone comes to the grand opening, and they all have a good time watching the twins fight for the love of one guy. And you might be thinking, is there more? Well, no, that's it. That's where the anime ends. I watched 12 episodes for nothing. Type twins and I'll give you a big shout out, and you'll have good luck all week. You know that if you subscribe and hit like, you help me a lot. My name is Alex, and may God bless you. Bye bye.